You think you got what it takes to be the next best superhero? Well, in Vigilante, you get your shot. It's coming to Kickstarter on January 28th. It's for 3 to 6 players, plays in about 75 minutes, and it's for ages 14 and up. So we're going to go ahead and get it to the table and take a look at it. Alright, we've got everything set up here for a game of Vigilante. We got our board out with all of our decks of cards set up. We've got our player board up here. We're going to go through the setup and show you guys exactly how to play, and then we'll get into a little bit of the mechanics at the end of the video. Now, the first thing you want to do is you want to pick your game scenario. Now, we've got one over here. It's all-out war, but all the scenarios are separated by player counts and then difficulty. You can see here, this is one for 3 players. It's the intermediate difficulty. The one we have down there is for beginners to go through. We'll show you how to do that. They all have the amount of cards each player will draw at the beginning of the game, as well as how many events that they will pick out from the event bag and put in the event section, and how many rounds the game will go on for, and any special abilities for this scenario. They also tell you how many of the different good, neutral, or evil identities that players will have in the game, and how to set up the villain deck, is how many level 1, 2, and 3 villain cards are shuffled and then stacked. Now, we've started with the beginner scenario. So this is all-out war. It tells us we're going to draw 2 cards each at the beginning of the game. Start with 3 random events from the bag over here, which we'll choose in a minute, and this game will go on for 6 rounds. We're also, we're supposed to find the villains and put them in jail at once. So it says to use the identities and play them face up, remove allegiance tokens and the identity cards, which we'll go over in a minute. I've already set up the villain deck of 15 cards each, and it is right over here with the brown backs and the handcuffs on them. So the identities, usually you shuffle them up and you'll pass them out to each player. Since this is a 3-player game, we're going to have 2 good players and 1 evil player. Now, for the identity cards, you can see here that this one is a hero, and they're good. There's different ones for each thing, good, neutral, or evil. And there are different ones. Like you can see, there's a multitude of hero cards for good, but then there's also an investigator, which has a different mission statement than the hero card does. The hero says the good players must jail a total of 7 villains for each good player. So in this game, since the scenario card said that we have 2 good players, that would be 14 villains we'd have to have jailed between the 2 good players. Investigator has a different mission statement right here. It says jail at least 8 villains. Evil players, defeated heroes count as your jailed villains. So even though they're good, you have a different mission statement. Now we got different guys for neutral and different guys for evil. So you would take the goods, shuffle them up, deal out 2, and then take the evil, shuffle them up, and deal out 1 evil identity. And then between the 3 players, they would each secretly take one of their identities. Now you see on the side of the identities, it has good, neutral, evil. It has 4 there. Because since he's a good player, he's going to take 2 good tokens, allegiance tokens, and then 1 neutral and 1 evil. Because during the game, you will be able to try to identify what identity, what allegiance the other players are, so you can try to coincide or work against them during the game. Now, usually you keep your identity card secret, but for this game, we're just going to play with it revealed. I'm a hero. We'll put this right over by my player board there. Now, during the game, talking about taking them, the allegiance tokens look like this. It says we're not going to play with them in this game because it's a beginner game for 3 players. But usually you'll have them face down here, spread out next to your sheet, and then players will be able to take a look, and actually take a look at one of your tokens to try to see if they can determine what allegiance you have. But we're not going to use these during the game, so we're just going to set them aside. The next step in the setup is to go ahead and shuffle up and place the main deck on the board. Now this has the main kind of cards you're going to get: equipment, one-time use cards, different things that can help you during the game. They're going to come from the main deck that have the purple backing. Now you also shuffle up and place the agency deck, which have upgrades. You can see they have the same symbols on the back of it, but it's a black deck. Because these are upgrades, they're more powerful weapons and one-time use cards. But on your turn, whenever you have a chance to use one of your tokens to draw, you can't draw from the agency deck. you'll always draw from the main deck. The only time you get to draw from the agency deck is if you have 3 or more jailed villains next to your hero board. Then the agency deck opens up and you'll have access to those more powerful cards. Now, according to our scenario card, we need to start with 3 random events during the game. I'll put the scenario card right back down there. The events are kept in the bag next to the event section, and they have different things that can trigger at the end of a round. So we're going to draw 3 of them. We're going to start with 3 random events. Let's see what those are. We've got a loot crate, which lets us draw 1 card. We have a firefight, which damages a hero. And we have a jailbreak, which will free a villain. Now, these have dice on them because at the end of your turn, you will be able to roll your dice behind your character screen, and we'll show you that in a minute. And you'll choose one of those dice secretly and put it in the little casino area down here with the dice. So during everybody's turn, they will contribute 1 dice, and then at the end of the round, after everybody has their turn, any of those dice that match these numbers will trigger the events that are in the event section. And we'll show you how that happens at the end of a sample round. We've also shuffled up the hero deck here with a little mask. It's light blue cards here. And dealt out 3 heroes to the board. These will be available to recruit during the game. You can see it's got the number of influence you need to discard to be able to recruit this hero to the hero spot on your hero board. It also has its attack value and its health and a little action ability that it can do. You can use one of your tokens as an action to trigger this ability, but only once per turn, so you draw the top card of the discard pile. So they all have different abilities. They're all set up like that. So we turn 3 out and we've put them on the board. Well, now that we've got the main board set up, we can get to the player board. So each player will take a little player screen with a color on it like that. They will take the corresponding colored dice. They will take a player board, which has 4 spots for heroes on it and 4 spots for your action tokens. And then they will take a couple of red little tokens like this that they can use to represent damage on their heroes. Now, also just for fun, I've placed the first player meeple on this board because I'm going to go first in my game of 1 player, even though it's supposed to be 3 players. Anyway, so the character screen is not only used to show you the parts of a turn as you go in different things with the game, how many health the level 1, 2, and 3 villains have, and different stuff like that, attacking, everything. But it is also used to hide your roll. Whenever you make that event roll at the end of your turn, you'll make it secretly because you're going to pick one of those dice and place it over there. So it's dual use, and it's got a little scene of fighting on it. So place that over there. Now, each player will be given 2 of the starting heroes that come with the game. I know we got the ones out here, but there are different heroes that are starter heroes for the game. You'll shuffle up the starting hero deck, deal out 2 cards to each player, and then they will choose one of them to start with, and the other one will go back into the deck. You can see right here, we have chosen Dr. Dynamite right there. He's got 1 attack and 5 health, but at the beginning of your turn, you roll a die. On a 1 to 4, heal 1 damage from a hero. On a 5 to 6, though, deal 1 damage to a hero. Because he's Dr. Dynamite. So you're going to blow stuff up. Now, whenever you acquire heroes, they always go in the first available spot on your player board. So this one will go in my hero spot there. If I recruit another hero from down here, it will go to the hero 2 spot. Another one will go to hero 3 spot. Now, if any of those get defeated, let's say I had one here in the hero 3 spot, and the hero 2 got defeated and goes over here. The next one I acquire will not go in the hero 4 spot, but will fill in the hero 2 spot. They always, acquired heroes or recruited heroes, always go in the lowest hero spot available. And with that, we're ready to begin. So let's go ahead and begin a round of Vigilante. I know we've only got me as 1 player and we don't have 2 other players for the 3-player scenario. but we'll fudge it a little bit. We'll just go ahead. Oh, I forgot. We get to start with cards in our hand. Our scenario says we get 2 cards, so I'm going to draw 2 cards from the main deck. Let's go ahead and take a look at the kind of cards. Let's see. It looks like I've got 2 equipment cards. You can see that they are equipment because they match the gun symbol, the yellow gun symbol up there on the hero's end. Now, a hero can usually only have 1 equipment attached to them. Then you can tell that by the circles on the player board where it has 1 blue and one yellow circle. So 1 hero in that spot and 1 equipment in that spot. And it's one of the free actions of the game to be able to play cards from your hand. You play equipment for free onto a hero. Now, it does cost an action to take inventory back, equipment, but it's as many as you like back into your hand. We'll get to that in a second. So I've got these 2 cards in my hand. You can see we got the title of it, XA Force. It is a mechanical vehicle. It'll bump up attack by 1. And it'll bump up health by 1, and has a little ability down here. At the beginning of your turn, you may discard an equipment. If you do, draw 1. Or it says 1 influence down here. This means that I can discard this card to generate 1 influence. Most of the cards have these on the bottom. You can see this one, I can do the same. So if I discarded both these cards, I would generate 2 influence. And influences is what you use to buy and or recruit heroes on the board. This one costs 9, this one costs 10, that one costs 8. So I really can't recruit any other heroes right now, so I'm not going to worry about that. Let's look at this other card right here. It's an XA E-Space mechanical vehicle. It just bumps up health by 2. It doesn't bump up any attack. But it tells me once per round, if an equipment of yours is discarded, you may immediately take it back into your hand. Now, it's a pretty good ability. Okay, so now we are ready to begin. At the beginning of the round, whoever is the start player will take the bag of event tokens and reach in and draw out 2 of them, like so. They will then look at these 2 and choose one of them to go over on the board. Let's see. We already have a firefight over there, but it's a 4 dice instead of a 5 dice. So I don't want to have any more damage on a hero. So I'm going to have the hacking go over there. It's a 3. So if a 3 is rolled at the end of the round, we're going to have the jailbreak where everybody will free a villain. And also everybody will have to discard a card, possibly. The events are also the way that you keep track of rounds for the game. We start off with 3, but we've got this one here now, and we know that there are 6 rounds of the game. So each one of these is drawn out at the beginning of a round. We'll be able to track rounds like that. The other one that's not chosen goes back into the event bag. Now I have 4 actions that I can take, represented by the little lightning bolt tokens up here. That's how you keep track of if you've spent your actions or not. And also any number of free actions that I could possibly do, which is playing my cards from my hand and discarding my cards from my hand, different stuff like that. But recruiting costs an action. So I would have to discard to get the influence and then spend an action to recruit using that influence. But let's not get ahead of ourselves. So I can use an action to draw a card from the main deck, or if I have 3 jailed villains, I can draw from the agency deck. I can attack the top card of the villain deck. Now these stay face down. We don't get to see who you're going to be fighting until you spend an action to face off against them. So it's a surprise. I can recruit, like I said. I can heal. If I do that, I can remove one of my action tokens to heal 1 damage from one of my heroes. Or I can do inventory, like I was saying before. I can spend one of those to return all equipped items from my heroes back to my hand as 1 action. Or I can use an action token to trade a card with an opponent on a 1-for-1 basis. So let's go ahead and take some actions. So for free, I'm going to play this XA Force card onto my Dr. Dynamo hero. So playing equipment, playing cards, remember, is a free action, so I don't have to spend one of my tokens. His attack will now be 2, and he has a total of 6 health. Oh, I forgot at the beginning of my turn I was supposed to roll a die and see if anybody's going to heal damage or take damage. And it's 3 heal damage, which doesn't matter. Nobody has any damage on them. I just had to see if he was going to take damage. So I'll place that back there. All right. And let's use one of my actions. Let's go ahead and draw from the main deck. Ooh, what did I get? First aid kit. Awesome. It'll let me heal 2 total damage from your heroes. Or I can discard it for 4 influence. Nice. Let's go ahead and draw. Let's draw another card. Let's go ahead. See how many I can get here. Ooh, Prison Riot. This is say if an event frees a villain, take the top 2 cards from the villain deck, place them directly into your jail. Oh, nice. Or I could discard it for 2 influence. That's actually pretty good. Okay, I'll put that over there with my hand. How many influence do I have total if I discard? I have 4, 5, 6, 7. Not enough to buy anybody on the board right now. But my hero does have 2 attack. And my player board tells me the level 1 heroes are for 2 to 4 health. So it is possible that I could defeat them if I like. Let's see. Let's spend 1 more to draw. Let's see if I can actually get anything else that might help. Oh, it's another first aid kit. Oh, that's wonderful. Okay, so my last action, I'm actually going to attack a villain because I want to show you how that works. Let's go take that off there to attack a villain. So I flip over the top card. Oh, it's a hacker. Oh, he's got 4 health. I'm not going to defeat him. But, you know, it shows first thing we do, we check for any abilities here. This says to jail. So if he was to go to the jail, if I defeated him, I would have to do an ability thing there, discard a card from my hand. But I can't. So first thing that happens when the villain is revealed, when you're fighting him, is he's going to deal damage to heroes in their spots. So hero number 1 is going to take 1 damage. Okay, that's not enough to kill him, so he'll still be in play to deal damage back. Hero 2 will take 2 damage. Now, I don't have anybody in my hero 2 spot, so he will not take any damage. Then, my hero deals him damage afterwards. Now, I'm only dealing 2 damage, and he's got 4 health, so he's not defeated. Villains that are not defeated go on the bottom of the deck. So we go ahead and place him. Bottom of the deck, he was not defeated, so I do not get to capture him. My hero is not killed, so he still stays in play. I've used my 4 actions, so now I have to secretly roll behind my screen and add one of those dice over there to the event area. Let's see. Yeah, I'm going to pick this dice right here, and I'll put a 1 over there. And then play would pass to the next turn in turn order, which is next player clockwise. Now, once all players have had their turn to take their actions and roll their dice, placing them over in the area, it comes to the round end. At the end of the round, the starting player will look at the dice in the area over here and take them out and trigger them for the events. So it would be like, okay, this 1 here, let's see, do we have any 1s? No, we don't. No events trigger. And that my character will get my dice back. Now let's say that I had a 3 over here. So this 3 would trigger events. We have 2 events that have the number 3 on them. We got jailbreak for freeing a villain, and also hacking, discarding a card. Now, even though it's my dice that rolled this, everybody will have to do what is triggered on the events. Everybody will have to free a villain if they can, if they had any jailed villains, and everybody would have to discard a card for hacking. Now, if there were 2 players, let's say this was a blue dice over here, and it had a 3 on it. Also, only the first die of that number would trigger. The other one would not trigger. So we wouldn't have to do 2 jailbreaks and 2 hacking. Just the first one. And the other player would just get their dice back to place in their area. Once you're done with events, the first player marker is moved clockwise. Oh, I'm sorry, is moved counterclockwise to the next player. Counterclockwise. And they will start the next round by drawing 2 event tokens out of the board, secretly placing 1 on there and putting the other one back into the bag, and then proceed with their turn. Play continues in this fashion till you complete a number of rounds that match on the scenario card. And then at the end, you see who has accomplished their mission, either the good players, the neutral players, or the evil players, or the good and evil players in this scenario, according to their mission statements on their board. Remember, Vigilante is hitting Kickstarter on January 28th, so make sure you get on over there and check it out. I'm Logan for Logan Chops Reviews Previews. We'll see you next time. Happy gaming.